Hello there, friends. Mystery here, and today we have made it. We've all collectively made it to Friday. That means we get to be rewarded with a little bit of some Darktide dev blogs. This one is the promised visual design dev blog. It's not as much as I was really hoping. There is some more to come next week. They have teased. What I was hoping is some more that I could glean some of the class mechanics from, some of the special weapons and functions that maybe the Servo Skull has. I think that that is probably the reason why they're splitting this up, is they don't want to show too much of their hand just yet. Even for as many leaks there have been about this class, there is still so much mystery, fucking pun not intended, here about this guy. I guess that's why he's called the Cryptic. Like, how does this thing work? What are the abilities? What exactly are we going to look like and feel like when we're playing? How the weapons work, all that sorts of stuff is still up in the air. Today, though, we do get a little bit of insight into the character creation and some of the customization we'll have there, which I think is really cool. And just generally looking at the breakdown of some of the cosmetic design for this class, the visual design behind it, on sort of a more personal or hype note. This class, the more I see about it, the more I am looking at these dev blogs and analyzing how they have gone in depth on designing this tree. There are so many bespoke elements for this class that were not even in contention for RBDs or for High Scum. Those guys are a bunch of reused mechanics generally. Not to say that they don't work in some extent, but this class seems so crazy polished. A big part of it, I know, is the fact that they were working on this class and were potentially targeting a Christmas release last year, but they realized that that was not going to happen, and they pushed it off and did Hive Scum instead. And I think that was probably the right choice there, because they got to use the Skull stage and be the biggest possible thing at that event this year, and it's going to be a really, really massive reveal for the class. They wanted to make certain they had everything absolutely perfect. And from what I'm seeing so far, this is going to be the biggest banger of a class the game has ever had. It's going to put the design of other classes and their talent trees to shame, quite honestly. I think that there's so many cool concepts they're exploring here. And of course, this is the AdMech edition ever of any game. I think that there's, guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but there's not that many games that let you play first person as AdMech. There's definitely, I don't think there's any that lets you play first person as Skitarii, and that being realized in a game as cool and with the depth of combat as Darktide that really nails weapon feel, I think it's going to be fucking hard. I think it is going to be really, really awesome to play. But let's get underway here and see what they have to show us today. And reminder, guys, by the way, after this weekend, it is illegal to say Skitarii next month. You will have to exchange all of your powder at the commissary for Skitarii this month powder. So make certain you're updating your stashes. Let's go ahead and go down here, though. As they say here, they have always wanted to put AdMech of some sort in the game. I think that probably they went through many different ideas. Are we going to do a tech priest? I think that they were probably ideas about a mechadendrite, having an extra arm and stuff for your tech priest. Not to say that couldn't still come to the game, right? A tech priest is not that similar to a Skitarii. You could have different identities for both of them, like a engine seer sort of class that works, have multiple AdMech classes, although maybe they'll go for Xenos or something instead. It's hard to imagine where they go from here, isn't it? Right? This is going to be such a cool concept. Not to say that everything has to be bigger and better all the time, but you want to have something that also builds as much hype. Hard to be more hyped than AdMech, hard to be more hyped than Skitarii. So they wanted to add this for a long time. They figured out that Skitarii is going to be the right fit here, because as they say, they meet the power level of the warband here. A lot of people will push back on this and be like, they're elite soldiers. Well, they're really they're elite because of their technology level, and also because they have masterful combat battlefield control, because they're being RTS style controlled from space by the tech priests overlords, more or less. So that is what makes them such an efficient fighting force. It's not that individually they are Astartes level combat fighters. They're pretty much as capable as our guys. And if you think about it, right, a lot of Darktide's classes are sort of knockoff variants on existing things within 40k. So the veteran is by my lights, is very clearly like a just an an Imperial like guardsman. He's just a knockoff Imperial guardsman. But he's without the branding, right? So I think there's even a backstory for him where he was Imperial Guard, where he's guard. It's just the guardsman fantasy. And then the Zealot is more or less kind of like a Sister of Battle. He's like a toned down Sister of Battle. Ogrins are lore-wise underrepresented in terms of power here, but still, like, if we were taking into account that we have a Psyker and an Ogrin amongst our ranks, a Skitarii is, not all that powerful. And I doubt they'll be any more powerful than the Psyker can be right now in terms of game balance either. But let's look at some of the cosmetics. By the way, I just have to say, like, do you ever get, if you're a non-art person like I am, do you ever get jealous that people can just do this? That they can just take black and white and make a image that's like I can tell exactly what this is. It has so much detail in it, and it's literally got like no colors to it. Crazy to me that like that can be realized. And yeah, it's just a wonderful talent. Good job, whoever that is. Then we've got some of the headgear here. We got the backpack, a lot of iconic stuff. None more iconic, though, than the bionic arms, the bionic limbs of the class. And I thought this was so funny. They go on to say here that, of course, you upgrade with bionics to coat over all the soft, squishy human parts, but they really are identified by, like, more or less having no human appendages, right? All that is weak. The flesh is weak, the metal is strong. And so bionic arms were 100% in the concept from the beginning. They knew from like very early on that they wanted to do AdMech for the class, and that if they were going to add AdMech to the game, they didn't want to water down having the AdMech do their thing, which is, having their entire body replaced by metal, by basically having a bunch of other bionic parts in the game. So of course you can still go and get, like, I think there's a veteran set that has the 2 bionic legs, but there's, as far as I can remember, no other bionic arms in the game, and that is because they didn't want people to be able to, like, buy all these cosmetics and basically be a knockoff AdMech at this point. They wanted that to be a very unique feel for this class, to like look at your hands and be like, oh, I've got a robot hand, and then you can see that in the cosmetic, or like the art on the store page, the in-game play when they've got the galvanic rifle and they're aiming it, the robes fall back and you can see the arm with the 2 sort of like support struts here. I don't know what you'd call those, but yeah, the very, very like obvious robotic arms. I think that's just so cool, and of course the hands. The arms are such an important part because that's one of the only things you can see in gameplay is your actual hands and arms. So I'm hoping that there are lots of cosmetic customizations for these. Fatshark, I'd pay you lots of money if I can like guild or somehow like put designs or just different configurations of those arms. I would pay good money for that. So down here, then we got a second really big thing that a lot of people don't consider when they think about Darktide and the work that goes into creating things for Darktide. So, you think about a gun like the infantry las gun, right? And it's a pretty basic concept, or the las pistol. Very basic concept. Like, oh, well, how hard could that be? But then you have to remember that for 90% of the weapons that are realized within Darktide, there are no other, like, pieces of media to pull from where that gun is being demonstrated, used in any way, shape, or form. So they exist within the tabletop models. You can find tons of tabletop models of guardsmen standing around with the las gun. You know exactly what a recon las gun looks like. You know what a recon or like a regular infantry las gun looks like, but you have no idea what does it do when you fire it. How does the battery pack actually like work? Gameplay wise, how does it sound? How does it look? Like, is there a muzzle flash? And they have to be the ones who decide all this, right? They have to go in there and they have to animate this stuff and they have to make the sounds and pair it up with it. And they do such a good job of this in general. Like, vigilant autoguns still suck ass, so they could maybe fix those up. But in general, their their realizations of weapons in Darktide are so good. I will 100% stand 10 toes down on the bolter. the bolt gun in this game being better than any other bolt gun I've ever seen in another game. And there's tons of games like Bolt Gun that have bolt guns in them. And those are the Astartes versions of bolt guns. And like Space Marine 2, the bolt gun and the plasma gun in those games are wimpy as shit. But in Darktide, they feel powerful. Like, it's something about the feedback and the sound design and like how those weapons animate. They're works of art. Like, it truly is crazy when you think about, like, they have to basically build these things from the ground up. All they get to start with on something like the Phosphor Blast Pistol here is, okay, that's what it looks like. So then they have to decide, okay, how does this reload? Okay, well, it unhinges at this joint here, flips forward, and then you have a speed loader that you basically you pull off the back, I guess. Or I don't know where the speed loader comes from. No, I guess you just carry it in your pocket. It's got a bunch of speed loaders in your pocket, and then you put it in there, and you flip it back up, and then you blast out, and that's where the outgassing comes. And yeah, pretty cool. And then, oh, I can't wait to, I actually didn't think about that. That you're going to see the cylinders animating in game. That's super, super cool. So yeah, like these weapons are so detailed and are going to have such good animations to them. I'm really, really hoping that these these sound good too. I bet they will. This is the one, the galvanic rifle. This is the one I saw so many comments in the like the teasers and on my videos and stuff. People want this gun, and you know why? It's not because like this gun is like, you know, like there's a fucking like Tesla gun, there's an arc rifle, there's all sorts of crazy ass shit, there's a fucking power sword, but people want this gun because of the design, because it is, as they say here, it's both like parts old and new. It's high tech, but it's also reminiscent of like the 1800s Wild West, you know, sort of pre-industrial era of firearms. So you look at it and it's got like this ornate design. It's got these filigrees. It's made of fine wood and metal, and it's like, it looks vintage, it looks antique, but also it's like hyper futuristic magic tech that makes it work. And I think there's something so like fascinating. I think that's what's fascinating to a lot of people about the Imperium and their technology, is it's like, this stuff, it looks primitive to us, but also it works in fantastical ways that would never work in reality because of the power of Omnissiah or whatever. They have like this mystery, again, pun not intended, they have this crazy weird power source. And so, yeah, like the galvanic rifle, people see this and like, oh, it's the M1 Garand, or to me, it's like a lever action, like Winchester or something. But by the way, unfortunately, the lever did not make it into the game. I went and checked the model that is in the deluxe edition. It's not going to be lever action. How fucking cool would that be, though? Give me a lever action rifle. Like, Hellborn would be 10 times better if it was lever action. I feel like, yeah, that would be so sick to have there. Yeah, hey, look, Wild Wild, or Far Far West does it. Wild Wild West is a Will Smith movie, but Far Far West does it, and it's pretty cool there. So, yeah, galvanic rifle, definitely, it's Kino, right? It just has that perfect, like, feel and look, and I can't wait to hear the sound design. So yeah, there's the concept art, the miniatures themselves, and they mixed it with how historical weapons work and the advanced technology, the Adeptus Mechanicus on top. It blends together. I think it nails it, right? People were so like, were vibing with this sort of weapon so hard, and they knew it because they put it in the freaking, like, that's what they're holding, like right in the dead center of the frame for the trailer. Now we got to move on to the really cool part that I did not expect here, which is character creation. Not even character customization, but character creation. It actually is a process with this character. So instead of having it just be like a thing where you just swap between different eye colors or whatever, they actually have you being in the inner sanctum of the old Adeptus Mechanicus facility that Hadron has gotten access to, and you will be upgrading the standard Skitarii into the Alpha Primus variant. So it looks like, and they don't have any animations of it here, but it looks like to me, you will actually like say, oh, I want to have this color arm, and these robot arms will come in and they'll remove your feet, or they'll remove your arms, or they'll place a different face mask on your face like they do in that scene with, it's like a mix between the scene where they're putting Anakin into the Darth Vader suit or the suiting up thing from Iron Man 1, right? Where he's just like locking these new boots onto your little nubbins, turning your human nugget into a Skitarii warrior. Really, really cool. One part body horror, another part like technological wonderment. And to like that amount of detail that they took the time to actually show the creation of the Skitarii, They did not have to do that. They did not have to do that in any way, shape, or form. So there's so much detail, they say, that has gone into this. First and foremost, we wanted the mood of it just right. In the center, there's this giant machine, the main component of the upgrade process, but the room is also filled with sensor smoke and candles. We really tried to nail the feel of this being both a machine and a ritual chamber. So you'll start with picking your nugget. You know, it's so funny. Like, to me, these are horrific, by the way. These look like Doom, like, villains. They look like the enemies in Doom. But this, to me, is like the coolest part of Skitarii, is that you look at them, and these warriors, this Skitarii Legion, they look so noble, and like they're impassive because of the goggles on their face. They look like they're just above, like they're transhuman. They're above humanity. But then underneath it all, this is what they are. Just like these tortured, horrific creatures that are being like kept alive by some sort of like technological amalgam. Like they are way more machine than man, and hopefully Omnissiah's magic makes him not feel pain, because that looks fucking horrific. But yeah, you will suspended in the middle is a disfigured torso and head that's the core of your character. You get to pick your own mechanical limbs and other details for it. We wanted to feel like you're creating your very own Skitarii. So yeah, we'll get to see them like clamping the limbs on and stuff. Awesome, awesome. Truly horrific, but also awesome. And then, of course, you get to choose the robes and the hood, which this to me gets me so excited, because hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the basic character customization here, right? This is what you basically be akin to choosing your different robes when you are a reject. You have the 4 different colored of like penal colony clothes, but this is what you get to choose. You get to choose your Forge world. So we have Mars, Ryza, and Branks Minor here. Personally, I am still partial to the Mars. Something about that crimson white, and then the blue works so well, but I know a ton of people are going to be going Branks Minor because white so just stands out so well. But if this is the baseline customization we can expect, I'm really, really hoping, fatsharks, please don't let us down. I need more cosmetics for this class, okay? They have to know that would be like their absolute cash cow. They will be hunting some whales for real, and I would be one of them if there's some cool customizations to be going around here. Sell them for other classes too. I need those robotic arms, okay? Now that Skitarii's on board, I want my RBDs to be like, I need a robot arm too, middleman. And just have him lop it off right there. Yeah, so that's all we can see for today, but it gets me so hyped. There is so much work. Just the fact that they had the time and the effort to go in there and animate and like have there actually be a character creation process means, like, think about the work that went into like the actual weapons and the gameplay feel and stuff. It gets me so excited. I can't wait to get my hands on this. Skitarii next month. In a few days, Skitarii tomorrow. And by the way, guys, if you are unaware, there will be the free month for Darktide on PS Plus. So expect to see a lot of new player content on the channel for at least the next week or so. Maybe it'll help you if you're a scrub, but really for new players coming in from PlayStation, be kind to our newbies. Try to get them addicted to this game and send them my way. And, of course, put the difficulty 1 higher than they want it to and just really get their asses kicked. That's the best way to introduce a friend to Darktide, I feel. And yeah, see you very soon, guys. Mr. Riata here. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.